Okay, hello everyone. Good evening and welcome to RBI 247 session. My name is Davinder and I am your finance mentor. Quickly give me a confirmation that everything is fine with the audio and the video so that we can start with the session very quickly. Good evening everyone. Good evening. Just quickly give me a confirmation that everything is fine. You can see my PPT properly. You can hear me properly. So that we can start with the session very quickly. Okay. I think everything is fine. Thank you, Shreya. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Atul. Okay, great, great. I got confirmation. Okay, so today in this session, we are going to discuss we can say three newses with us, which is RBI tightens the rule and PRB, and then three new rates for sin goods. Okay. Yes, good evening, everyone. Good evening. So we are starting with the very first news, which says that RBI tightens the rules on loans to related party. RBI is the one who is the regulatory body of the Indian banking system, and that we know that it regulates various of the banks, right? Various kind of banks, and banks gives what? It gives loan, right? It can also give loan to related party. Now, the very important thing here is, what do we mean by related party? Who are these related parties? So related parties are those individuals or those institutions or companies who are somehow related with the banks, or the people of the banks, say top managers, directors, right? Their shareholders, right? They are somehow related to these personals, right? Or the owner of the company, right? So why these personals are important for the RBI? RBI says that these related parties are really risky for us. They said why they are risky, because related party have some influence on the bank's decision. Now take it as an example. Suppose you are my friend, right? You are a bank manager, right? And you are my friend for last 10 years. I came to you and I asked you for a loan. Then you will be like, she is my friend for last 10 years. I can believe her. I can give her a 10 crore of loan, right? She will give it back to me based on the credibility of the friendship. You gave me that loan. But you being a bank manager, you must look at my credibility. You must look at my bank statement. You must look at how many loans that I have taken in past, right? Instead of looking at these credentials, you have just taken one biased decision based on that relationship that we are friends. We are somehow related to each other. Now, these related parties somehow entered with related party transaction. Whenever there is some kind of commercial dealing, whenever there is some kind of monetary dealing with you, it becomes a related party transaction. Now these related party transactions are really risky. We just discussed why. Because they can make the bank to do a biased decision without considering how risky that decision could be for a overall bank. I hope you understand. Now RBI gave some direction to tighten it. Okay, they said we need to strictly tighten these kind of transaction. We need to look after these because these are happening over a very long period of time. So basically, what is the overall agenda of the RBI when they tighten this rule? They avoid risky lending. Banks do not do risky lending because of their related party relations, right? That is the main agenda, that they could do a biased lending leading to a risky lending for the banks, right? And then also they ensure that there is no biasness in the dealing. Okay, there is no such biasness in the dealing, and that would not lead to any conflict of interest. Conflict of interest when there is your interest do not matches with the interest of the overall organization, in this case bank, right? I hope you understand what the RBI is trying to solve here, right? Now what are the rules? Rules are really important. It says now whenever there is a related party loan, or we can say transaction, कोई भी लोन होगा अगर बैंक देगा related party को, then what would be required? It would require to have a approval from a bank's board or special committee. There would be a special committee that will be held, or bank's board will approve that loan. Not a single manager, not a single, we can say, personal would be there who is going to give, or we can say release that loan. There would be entire committee who is going to look after that loan, that where we are going to give the loan and how, what is the purpose of the loan. Okay, these kind of decision or discussions will be made in that board, right? First thing is that. Then the second thing is the size of the loan. What should be the size of the loan, right? How will they decide? They will be decided on the basis of this table. You can see in the screen that if the bank loan, or we can say the bank size, is directly proportional to how much bank loan can be given to related party. जितना बड़ा बैंक होगा उतना बड़ा आप related party loan दे सकते हैं. Suppose there is an one, we can say here in the row, you can see that if the bank size is above 10 trillion, they can give a loan of up to 25 crore to a related party, because it is a big bank, so they can give bigger loan. But however, this any kind of bad loan, we just discussed in previous class, what do we mean by bad loan? So if bad loan comes here, it will be very, हम कह सकते हैं, बिल्कुल भी टॉलरेट नहीं किया जाएगा. It will be intolerant in nature, because it is a very big bank and is giving a big loan, right? So any kind of bad loan revolving around these related parties will be considered in a very high level. Okay, so if the bank size is between 1 to 10 trillion, then they can give a loan to related party up to 10 crore, and if it is below 1 trillion, then they can give loan of up to 5 crore. Now this limits are really very important. This can be asked in your examination. What this note says, it says that banks at their own level can set up their own threshold. Say there was a bank of a size of 10 trillion or more, right? Now as per the RBI regulation, it says 25 crore is the limit, but they can set that, we are setting it at say 20 crore. Within the threshold of RBI's limit, within the limit of RBI's limit, they have set their own, we can say, limit, internal limit. So they can do, but they cannot breach this limit which is being set by the RBI. Okay, I hope you have understood this. Let's just move ahead. Right, now there are some exceptions. Some of the loan are taken out of this, we can say, thresholds. Okay, some of the loans are being taken out, or we can say are being separated from such threshold limits that are being discussed here. Right, now there are some exemptions. Which loans are these which are taken out of this table? कौन कौन से ऐसे लोन है जो उसमें नहीं include किए जाते? तो there are two exceptions. They are saying that loans which are being backed by some kind of cash or safe security. Suppose, let's take an example that I am an individual. I came to you, you are a bank manager, and I say I want to take a 30 crore of loan, right? And you will say that it's huge, it is exceeding my RBI's limit, how can I give it to you? I said I can give you my FD in return. I have a FD of say 20 crore. Fixed deposit, I have fixed deposit of 20 crore. I am going to keep this to you as a collateral. Keep it and give me a loan. Now FD can be accessed anytime by the bank. Okay, now this is a very safe, I can say, collateral, right? Against this collateral, the bank get ready to give me a loan of 30 crore, even if it is breaching the limit of 25 crore. Are you understanding my point, right? So there is a safe security that is being held as a we can say collateral in this case, right? So I hope you understand this, because the risk is being lowered now. Now the other case would be interbank loans. Interbank loans are the loans which are being we can say interchanged between the banks. There was bank 1 and there is bank 2. They both have given loan to each other. Now these kind of loans are generally overlooked by RBI, and they are very short-term loans. They are generally very short-term loans. Banks do take loans from each other in order to manage their liquidity. And such kind of loans are considered to be looked after by RBI, monitored by RBI very closely, and hence they are very, हम कह सकते हैं that they are less risky. So these kind of loans are also taken out of this, we can say, related party loans. I hope you understand. So we are done with the first news. Let's just move on with the second news, which is again very important. Let's talk about the Payment Regulatory Board. Now, this Payment Regulatory Board was recently launched, or we can say was enacted, right? It was recently formed on May 2025. May 2025, May this board was formed just recently, right? And they have just held their first ever meeting, right? Very first meeting they have held in Mumbai, and this board was chaired by RBI Governor Sanjay Malhotra. Now, before we discuss that, what was the discussion of the meeting, we need to understand what was this PRB. PRB क्यों establish किया गया, and what was the problem that RBI was trying to solve by we can say by implementing such board, right? Right. I just come to your doubt, Monica. Let me just complete this news, right? So we are going to study about the background of the PRB, that is Payment Regulatory Board. As we know that India's payment system, wherein India's payment system, what is India's payment system? India's payment system is huge. It includes all such payment system that you use on a daily basis in order to do the transaction digitally, like UPI. You pay through cards. You also pay through net banking, right? You also pay through NEFT. RTGS. In case you are wondering what is RTGS and NEFT, these are just payment system tools. You can read about these in your static classes, right? So I'm skipping it for now. Just consider it as one of the payment tools through which one can make, we can say, bulk payments at a single point of time, right? So these all tools are part of your Indian payment system. Now, Indian payment system have grown over the period of time. Nowadays, people are using these tools on a daily basis, and the transactions are huge and massively grown over the period of time. Now, it is getting complex and complex. The system is becoming complex and huge, right? These were the major two problems. Earlier, this Indian payment system was looked after by one of the board, which was named as Board for Regulations and Supervision of Payment and Settlement System. All right. So this was the board. But what was the problem with this board? The board was internal in nature. It was an internal committee. It was an internal committee of RBI. Right? This internal committee of the RBI do not have any powers. Right? It do not have transparent accountability, right? These were the two problems. And what was the major problem? One of the major problem was that RBI is the one who is regulating this payment system, and they are the one who are supervising it too. So there is a conflict of interest. The one who is regulating is also supervising or monitoring it. There could be a conflict of interest. That is the reason they said we need to have a separate board, a board that have some powers, a board which have some accountability, a board which have some responsibility, a board which can lay down various kind of rules and responsibilities or regulations with regarding to this Indian payment system, right? So this board is going to work on behalf of RBI. Earlier, this board, BPSS, was under the RBI ruling, right? It do not have any kind of powers, but now it is now working with RBI, not under RBI. It is going to have some power, some accountability, some responsibility, so that we can hold this board responsible for whatever decisions they are making in future. Right? I hope you understand we can say the background of the PRB and what was the problem. Now we are moving on with the current scenario. So currently the Indian payment system is being, we can say regulated by which act? The Payment Settlement System Act, PSS Act, and this act gives power to RBI to make any kind of rules and regulation changes to this Indian payment system, right? And how this PRB was formed? The government introduced this section 3 subsection 2 under this act, दैट इज पीएसएस एक्ट. पीएसएस एक्ट के अंदर इन्होंने ये सेक्शन इंट्रोड्यूस किया इन ऑर्डर टू क्रिएट द पीआरबी. व्हेन आई से दैट पीआरबी इज अ स्टैट्यूटरी रेगुलेटर, दैट मीन्स इट इज अ सेपरेट बॉडी which is being enacted by a legal power or by a legal we can say system. Okay, by law इसे create किया गया है. This is the whole meaning of statutory regulator. Okay, so I hope you have understood. So this section is becoming very important. So now the BPSS is being replaced by the PRB by May 2025. Okay, what does this statutory regulator do? It looks after the domestic payment system and the cross-border payment systems. Okay, I hope you understand this thing. Now we have good knowledge about the PRB. Now let's just discuss about the meeting as well. So yes, this slide particularly talks about the composition of board. You must know what is the composition of board. So the board is being chaired by the RBI governor. We just talked about Sanjay Malhotra have recently chaired it, right? Who all are other members? The deputy governor of the RBI, which is related to the payment and settlement system. The executive director of RBI, which is again in charge of payment and settlement system, somehow related with that system. And then we have Secretary of Department of Financial Services, which is related to Ministry of Finance. Secretary of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, because UPI, you can take example of UPI. UPI is what? It is a technology that allows you to make payment in any day, anywhere, right? From anywhere. So this is the kind of technology. So one, we can say, person from the MIT is also being taken into consideration while forming this board. And then we have one expert member. And then we have lastly, principal legal advisor, a legal advisor which gives suggestions and advices to RBI regarding the legal grounds on this particular innovation or any kind of ruling. Okay, I hope you understand the composition as well. Let's just move on with the meeting discussion that were happened. So they first discussed and reviewed the entire department of payment and settlement system. They talked about it and they said that what are the roles and responsibility this department do and how much function, how much work they are doing right now, right? What else? They also show a draft of payment vision 2028. Now what is this? This is a roadmap for Indian payment system for next 2028 year, right? So what they are going to discuss in this, it has not been released yet. When it will be released, we are going to look after that. But the major thing that they have discussed is digital payment growth, the innovation and the competition in the Indian payment system, and what about the safety, security and the consumer protection in the Indian payment system again, right? अभी तो कोई डाउट तो नहीं है ना अभी आपको? ओके Syndicate and consortium loans, they have not specified this two terminologies in the direction. So they are out of this direction. Okay, they are not being related to the related party loans. Okay. Okay. Monita. Okay, Monita, see, it is your choice whether you want to make notes on these or not. It is only, we can say, your take. आप notes बनाना चाहते हैं, अगर आपको लिखकर याद होता है, if you think that it is more useful to be written on notes, then you can do that. But I'm going to share this PPT to all of you, तो आप PPT के through भी पढ़ सकते हैं, right? Let me just end this meeting discussion. It says that lastly, they discussed that finding of the RBI survey on the digital payment. They made one survey related to the digital payments, and now they just discussed what are the findings and results of such survey. And this was the whole news. Right now we are moving on with the third news, which is very we can say small and very easy to understand. So basically the Union Finance Minister, that is Nirmala Sitharaman, have gave clarity over the sin goods. What are sin goods? Sin goods are the goods which are like cigarettes, pan masala, BDs, all these are considered to be sin goods, right? Now they just give clarification regarding the sin goods and the GST rate that is going to be charged on this, right? They just clarified that now onwards these sin goods are going to attract only 40%, which is huge, 40% of the GST rate. Earlier they used to charge 28% plus compensation cess. What is compensation cess? Compensation cess is just, we can say, additional tax that is being charged by any state because of implementation of the GST system. Because of the GST system, there was a lot of losses in the potential tax revenue, and that is the reason the extra, we can say, compensation cess is being charged along with this 28%. Now this system was very complex. This was creating a lot of, we can say, issue among the we can say the states and for the consumer as well. Now they have one single slab of 40% for all kind of sin goods. There is one exception. What is that exception? It says 18% of GST only for the BDs, because BDs are generally being consumed by the, we can say, low income people, and it is being broadly used, so it has been given, or we can say granted with lower GST rate. I hope you understand this. So this is going to be implemented from 1st February 2026. So this date is important. This percentage is important. This percentage is important, and earlier percentage आपको याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है. You just understand that this was a very complex, we can say, percentage system, so that is avoided here. What is the agenda? Agenda क्या है? That we are going to bring the taxation system into more simpler and clearer way, so that it is easy for the states and, we can say, the consumer also to understand it. Okay. And the second thing is, because we are increasing the GST rate, what is the agenda? इससे क्या होगा? Government के revenue बढ़ेंगे, right? The first impact of this would be this, and plus it will going to discourage the consumer for consuming these sin goods, right? So this is the overall agenda of the percentage change. Okay. Okay. So we are ending our session here with this quizzes. Okay, तो quizzes हम जल्दी से discuss करते हैं, and I want you all to participate in this quiz. It is very easy way, or we can say very effective way of learning the we can say basic data points of this news on a daily basis, right? So I'm just reading out this question for you. It says, recently the first meeting of Payments Regulatory Board was held in Mumbai. The PRB was constituted after the amendment to Payment and Settlement System Act 2007, which came into effect on May 9, 2025. The meeting was chaired by Dash. I consider this a very easy and very basic question. Right. RBI Governor Sanjay Malhotra. Good, everyone. Good. So let's just come to the second question. It says, recently the RBI tightened the oversight on lending to related parties by introducing transaction level materiality threshold. The RBI prescribed different materiality threshold based on the bank asset size. Match the bank asset size column 1 with the materiality threshold column 2. Right. So there you have to match the column 1 with column 2. What do you think is the right match? Good. I'm getting a lot of answers. Shlok, Monica, Chirag, Kaushal, Sakshi. Good, good. You all have done a great job. Yes, B is the right answer. B is the right match. For above 10 trillion, they can give up to a loan of 25 crore. For B, it's 10 crore, and for C, it's 5 crore. Good, everyone. Here we are with question number 3. It says, from February 1, 2026, India will implement a revised GST structure for sin goods such as tobacco, pan masala. Which of the following GST rates will apply to cigarettes, pan masala under the new regime? Okay. Okay, Manish asking, ma'am, whether it is a good time or right time to cover the current affairs for the RBI grade B. I would say yes. It will create a consistency, a habit of you of watching current affairs on a daily basis. First thing. Then second thing is that as you are, following the current affairs from a very background, so your static becomes very strong. और आपको अभी से ही अगर करंट अफेयर्स याद करने आसान हो जाएंगे, आपको लर्निंग कैपेबिलिटीज आपकी बढ़ जाएंगी, योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग रिगार्डिंग द करंट अफेयर्स बिकम्स वेरी, वी कैन से, इफेक्टिव. सो येस, यू कैन फॉलो अप, you should follow up the current affairs from now onwards only. Okay, Yes, so people are giving a lot of answers. C is the right one. Good everyone, 40% GST is right. 20% for the CGST and 20% for the state, that is SGST. ठीक है, तो वो divide हो जाता है. I hope you understand this thing. Okay, so revision of the current affairs is all about that you keep on visiting your previous current affairs on a daily basis, or there is a particular timeline, say on Sunday, Saturday, you sit and you talk about or you see whatever you have studied for last, we can say 5 days or 4 days. So this is how you are going to revise it. At least you have to see one current affairs for 3 times. मान लीजिए कि आपने एक हफ्ता पूरा पढ़ा, ठीक है, और आप एक दिन संडे में बैठे और आपने संडे में अपने पूरा करंट अफेयर जो आपने पिछले 5 दिन में पढ़ा है, यू आर गोइंग टू हैव अ रिवीजन ऑफ दैट. once you have, this was the first layer of revision that you have done. Then secondly, after you say after 2 weeks, you still you again pick up those current affairs, right? And then you again revise it, second layer. And then third layer, then you will again pick that current affairs, and then you again revise it. Okay, so 3 layers of revision is going to be very good for you for doing the revision. Okay, no Sakshi, there is no such thing. 12th Jan ke baad we are going to have same kind of, we can say, timeline, or we can say time for conducting the RBI 247 and PIB 247. I hope that is clear. Okay, so I hope you all are clear with this news. So we are ending our session now. So be consistent with the current affairs. This is the whole key, and keep on revising the current affairs. And in case you are wondering that where you will find this PDF, you are going to get this in the Telegram group, and the link of the group is in the description below. Also, in case you have any kind of doubt with regards to this, we can say newses or whatever we have discussed so far, you can comment in the comment section below. Okay, so goodbye everyone. Take care of your health. Take care of yourself, and goodbye everyone. A very good evening and good day. Bye bye.